Alrighty everyone, welcome back. We are now getting closer to the release date of the Ahsoka Tano series. We're just a short handful of months away from really getting Dave Filoni's vision of Star Wars and where it's really gonna go. We know that Ahsoka Season 2 has already been greenlit behind closed doors over at LUCASFILM to really expand the Star Wars franchise, and Disney executives are putting all their faith into this one project specifically. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, there's a lot of things happening simultaneously between Kathleen Kennedy's vision of Star Wars with Acolyte and Skeleton, as well as John and Dave's vision with the handful of shows and their upcoming Star Wars movie that's going to also serve as a gateway to becoming a new trilogy surrounding all of the Mandoverse characters. And on top of this, we also have Bob Iger, who really has a game plan right now to bring Star Wars back to the theaters again with one movie a year once again, much like what they did with the sequels, Rogue One, and Solo. So when we look at stuff like this, given that Dave Filoni has really been keeping in touch with the fans, keeping them posted on exactly where Star Wars is going. We know that Dave and John today just talked more about their Star Wars movie and everything that's going on with the Mandoverse as a whole. But one thing that Dave Filoni did touch on has a lot to do with actress Gina Carano and the character of Cara Dune. Now, as you all are very well aware, the character Cara Dune was name-dropped in The Mandalorian Season 3 to explain her absence and exactly why she is no longer present in the story. And that was all a result of, obviously the firing by Kathleen Kennedy. They at least wanted to kind of tell fans that she's not dead, that she was not killed off, or anything like that. However, with Dave Filoni recently engaging in many interviews related to the future of Star Wars, he recently went on to discuss some groundbreaking details related to actress Gina Carano. Dave Filoni went on to state the following. So, yeah, about Cara Dune and Gina playing that role. We had some very big plans for her in Season 3 before she was let go and that whole thing happened. Myself and John had the pleasure of writing in a great story for her mid-season, where she was hunting down Imperial remnants and attempting to track down Moff Gideon after his escape. This was earlier on in the script before we had changed things. We specifically had given Gina Carano a more aggressive role for Cara Dune. I would definitely say a way larger role in Season 3, where she was going to have some pretty big scenes with Din Djarin. When we talked of course, this with Gina, she was so excited for the role, but Kathy didn't really agree with our vision on how her character was being established in the beginning stages. This was well before she was laid off from the series, by the way, and we were going to have or use Cara Dune in Season 3 to tell legends and tales about Luke Skywalker, to provide a couple of name drops to people like Bo-Katan and even Din. So let me just stop right here for a second. Now, before I get to the next big thing that Dave Filoni actually has to unveil, is that we also know that Dave Filoni is very well aware about how many supporters there are of Gina and of the character of Cara Dune out there. This is exactly why the executives over at Disney have been endlessly, forming a plan to bring her back, and now it's finally moving forward, as we discussed yesterday, about how Rangers of the New Republic is getting pretty much revised and put back on the roadmap with a brand new title and a brand new story, but staying in the same spirit as the original show. The thing about this, though, that Dave Filoni really points out that is very interesting is the fact that Cara Dune was going to be used as a vessel to tell new tales and legends about Luke Skywalker, spreading the truth about what happened between himself, the Emperor, and Vader across the galaxy, since she has a lot of connections to the Skywalker family. Now, on top of that too, Cara Dune was going to be basically a more aggressive character at this point in time, hunting down Imperial remnants. Now, this to me sounds very interesting, because we do know that Cara Dune has a lot of anger within her for what happened to her planet, and exactly what happened with everything relating to, of course, the overall empire and stuff around those lines. It's a really interesting story that they could have told, and Dave Filoni even points out that this was all earlier on in the script probably like the first or second draft, I would assume, very early on, where they had a lot of these rough, amazing ideas about where Cara Dune was going to go, what she was going to be doing in the story, and exactly how it would really evolve her character, right? So that brings us to where we stand today. We know that Dave and John still have these big plans to bring her back in Mando Season 4. Disney has plans to bring her back in Rangers, the new version of it at least, and a lot of that will be finalized by this August, and it's all going to be up to Gina by that point in time, once these projects are all authorized, on whether or not she truly wants to return. So that's going to be a very interesting thing as well. Now, moving on, alright, now, on top of this, he goes on to elaborate, it was going to be a great way for us to use her as this passage to expand Luke's story of defeating the Emperor and Vader. Our vision was not many people across the galaxy knew about what really happened between Vader and the Emperor, and Cara Dune would be this person spreading the truth through her connections with Luke's sister Leia. It was a plan for us to use her as expanding the Skywalker stories, but Kathy also wanted to revise that side of the plot, and didn't really work out in the long run up until before Gina had left us from the project at the time. It was a really great story, and it really changed the course of Mando Season 3 when we had to change all of that almost suddenly. Now, again, we know that Dave Filoni loves the fans. He likes to stay in touch with the fan base and really kind of just provide them what really happened behind closed doors and what was really going on with the Star Wars franchise well before Gina was even let go by Kathleen Kennedy. And I think that this would have been an amazing way to really expand her character, giving her a purpose to really kind of just spreading the truth about Luke, Vader, and Palpatine and what really happened on board of the second Death Star, stuff like that. The fact that she would be carrying the truth about that story because she holds connections to Leia is an expert idea, I believe, that was formed by Dave Filoni specifically, by the way. And when we look at Mando Season 3 now, Dave Filoni really admitted here that, you know, really getting rid of all those stories related to Cara Dune had a massive change, you know, a massive impact on how much different the story was before and after, you know, of what we got eventually, especially in the final cut. So that's another thing that I think a lot of fans need to be aware of, is that, yeah, I mean, we know that Kathleen Kennedy had her hands on the script, especially later on in the process, but it wasn't just that. I think that obviously a lot of things had to do with Gina getting excluded and Dave Filoni having to completely redo the script in some areas, with Jon Favreau, of course, you know, writing the majority and helping him out. But overall, you know, I think that this is why a lot of fans are just getting ready for all of the upcoming projects, because Kathleen Kennedy no longer has a hand in this, and really it's going to be staying true to the franchise. So I would love to hear what you guys have to say about all this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No, from night to moon, we hear them moans again. No.